Indiana Jones, but knowing you're going to be Indiana Jones and everything not be Indiana Jonesy. You know,
Exactly.
that's kind of what this is. This is the Pretty
It
Little
is.
Death. I am the critic. This is the bestie. And for the very first book for the year, we read Ruby Dixon's Bull Moon Rising. I pre-ordered this I want to say it was like February last year. And the
Mm.
premise was really good. I know we talked a little bit about it in our last episode of 2024. Um,
Yes.
I don't know what I was expecting. I don't think I got exactly what I was expecting, but I'm also pleasantly surprised by what we got out of it.
From this author, who is the same author as Ice Planet Barbarians, and that's pretty critically acclaimed to be fantastic. Uh, I was not expecting this either, though I'm pleasantly surprised. It was an extremely fun read.
It was.
And we'll get into it. We'll get
Yep.
into it.
This was not a dark read, which I know is
No.
different for us.
Yes.
Very
It's a
different.
fun, it's 2025. It's a fun new year. We're
Hmm.
thinking positively, happy vibes. Let's pretend to be in Indiana Jones,
With
fairy tale
magic.
land
With
with
magic. Um,
creatures, with half humanoid creatures and love
so
story and romance and
I liked that we didn't do
politics.
right. Oh, that is such a big thing in this. Okay, so last month when we did our book of the month, we didn't do a synopsis, and I think that actually went really well for us. Like, we got to discuss a
Yeah.
lot of what happened in the book rather than like a quick overview and then a couple of questions at the end. I didn't. I liked how it went last episode, so I think we're gonna do that again.
Yes.
And stuff is just falling on my desk because I need to clean my desk. Um. Okay. So I I had a couple of things that kind of tickled my brain a little bit. The fact that the world building is so good and yet
Hmm.
we don't go anywhere.
Yep. It's all in one
It's
place.
in
The
one
entirety.
place and
Yeah, the entirety of the book.
almost all in one building for the most part.
Hmm.
What do we what oh, how do we get into this? This was a surprising read. Um I'm glad it wasn't a series though.
Me too.
Like
It's a
I
nice, succinct, wrapped up in a tight little bow story. Very wholesome, very
mhm.
cute, very sexy. A lot
And
of
the thing that
really good talk.
I
Very
was
good.
gonna say,
If
the
you're
thing
into
that
dirty
Cass
talk,
loves the most, the dirty talk is on point.
it is.
I
It is.
warned her even because this time, instead of it beginning of the month reading the book and then waiting for Cass to catch up, I held off until Cass was ready to read. So
Yep.
she was like, I'm going to read it tonight. And I was like, good. I just finished another book. This is perfect. I'm going to start it. I
Yeah.
started it. It took a minute for me to get into it too. Like it was
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
little dry. The world building started right off the bat. Um, but it took a little bit for me to get into, and then when it got going, boy did it get going. And the first text I sent to Cass was, "Where are you? Dirty talk
Yeah.
ahead." It was
Yes.
like a
Yes.
full 2 pages of just dirty talk,
It
and
was.
it was done so well. Like
Hmm.
the male lead was just explaining things to the female lead,
Hmm.
and she was asleep and he didn't realize, so he just kept going. He thought she was
Yep.
just being her quiet.
Absorbing information,
Yep, nope,
because
her
she's like a
ass.
book
Us.
nerd
Yep.
and she's very logical and wants all the information. So he just, oh, this is her. So
Yep.
we're going to explain everything. Um, at the same time very accurately
Mm-hmm.
and very erotically. So I don't know how. Maybe it's the nerd in me that finds that extremely sexy, but I was like,
I
ooh,
think
this is working.
I think for him it was not so much erotic as it was factual. He was trying to like explain it in the way that he knew,
Hmm.
without like, because he was like, just rip the band-aid off, let her know what she can be in the store for. and
Yep.
and he was like turning himself on just thinking
Hmm.
about it, which I thought was incredibly cute in a
Hmm.
weird, wholesome, kind of dirty way.
Yes. Yep.
Oh my
I thought so
gosh.
too. It is. It is. It was cute.
It was very cute.
Uh,
And then the fact that she just starts snoring. Like,
and he's like, oh.
oh.
Well,
And the next day
well
he
then.
gives her crap about it too. That's even better. So just a little background, no synopsis. Just a little background. She goes to the city to join a guild. And because she's female, there's no exact rule that says females can't join this guild of adventurers.
It's
But
extremely patriarchal
yes,
and
and
very
racist.
misogynistic.
Don't forget
Yeah,
racist. There's a lot of racism in this book.
it's true.
And it's to work around that, these two make a deal to help each other. She needs a chaperone slash someone to take a responsibility for her, and he needs someone to see him through this like once every 5 years type physiological need that
Hmm.
his
Hmm.
species goes through. So they hatch this deal, and it's like one of their first nights together that he's like, this is what you can expect from this thing happening. And she
Hmm.
is just so exhausted with the training for the guild that she is not even
It
there. Head, hip,
yes,
pillow, and asleep. Um,
and so she is the daughter. Well, I mean, she is part of the nobility,
right.
and she runs away with her maid
Mm-hmm. And her
and
cat,
and her
because
cat.
let's
Can't forget the cat.
can't forget the cat. In fact, I think that was your response to my first text was, I can't, I love the cat.
Hmm.
We should say there are a couple of boxes ticked for this
Hmm.
book that hit both of our love spots, I should say.
Yes.
She is 30 years old, so not a girl.
Yep.
She is a cat woman, and she is an everyday kind of gal, meaning she's not
Yeah.
rail
She's
thin.
not.
She's got
Yeah.
some padding around because she's lived life.
Hmm.
She is headstrong. It, she actually felt like a real person to me, not just a written character.
And she also wasn't the over the top badass woman trope that I see in all these fantasy books too, which is also a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
Um,
we are always looking for
so
things like that.
mhm,
She wasn't a damsel in distress, but she wasn't
mhm.
she wasn't the one.
Exactly. She wasn't the one. She wasn't blessed with some supernatural
Mm-hmm.
power. She
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. Uh, the only thing she had going for her is that she was part of the nobility,
Yeah.
and she was intelligent. She
Mm-hmm.
was able to work her way around politically
Right.
to survive. It's out of
Right.
survival. So,
Yeah, so we're not going to give any more of
yep,
a synopsis of the story because you guys need to read this one. Highly
it's
recommend
so
this
good.
one. Haven't read
Mhm.
Ice Planet Barbarians, but I do, just based on this one book, I want to read more of Ruby Dixon. I'm not going to lie. I
Me too.
might look out for Ice Planet Barbarians.
Hmm.
So, what can we say without giving too much away? The political. I want to get back to the political stuff because, yeah, we are romance readers. We look for the smut, but for us in particular, we like to have a good story. And a lot of these the background to this is more important for us, I think, because it gives context to the smutty parts.
Yes.
And the smut does not show up for a very long time in this. Like,
It
this is a,
doesn't.
there's a
I love a good slow
countdown.
burn. Yes.
There is a countdown in the very beginning of the book, and we build towards that. There are moments where I was like gritting my teeth to figure out whether or not our main character was actually going to uphold her end of the bargain because of the political bullshit that was going on.
Right.
So because of this guild is like one of the true neutral entities in their world. And of course it all comes down to money, power, and influence. And it's
We should also say that they are artificers. They are looking into discovering rare magical
right.
artifacts, uncovering them,
Right. Finding
Indiana
them.
Jones style.
Yeah, they are tomb robbers, as somebody keeps stating in the text. We're tomb robbers, but they're not. They're more like archaeologists, I guess. That's what Indiana Jones
It
kind of
belongs in the museum. So,
exactly. And in certain times, our main character does feel the same way. Like, these should be museum pieces. They should not be in private collectors' possessions, etc. But that's just how the world works. This world works. It is a heavy magic world, but nobody actually performs magic themselves.
it's also got a heavy inspiration from like old, I want to say, um, what's it called? I'm blanking on the era in England. Fiefdom kind of
Yeah,
vibe,
yeah.
where the
It's
king kind of is the deciding rule. There's no democracy. It's just what they say goes. There's lords, and she's probably a lady, but that's not what they're called in this world.
yeah,
Though they have no prospects. The women are the lower caste. They don't have any right to property. They don't have anything.
yeah.
Um, and that's part of the reason she runs away. Anyway, so the reason why I bring this up is that it's each step of the way, there's a little bit of a hot button where she's under pressure to provide
Right.
and survive. And it just gives so much depth to this story.
Yeah,
It does.
there's no real antagonist until later. Everything is I guess they're
The antagonist is the world, it's the
right.
setting.
It's
It's,
soft antagonizing. You know,
yeah.
it's not blatant until much later. Because her past does finally catch up with her. She is in hiding. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the big crux. Because she is from a a noble family, they
Mm-hmm.
are noble families are not neutral, and the guild maintains its neutrality. They are
Mm-hmm.
middlemen. They don't take sides. You know, the lords will fight amongst themselves. That's their business. It's not the guild's business. The guild's business is to find these artifacts and to uncover them safely and sell them.
They're kind of like brokers.
Right. Right. In fact, there
So,
are black market brokers that are mentioned, and
mm-hmm.
people suspect because she is not the type to go treasure hunting
Mm-hmm.
that maybe she is a black market merchant's daughter or something like that, because
Mm-hmm.
she's just too refined for this kind of work. Her speech,
And
her
heavily
bearing,
informed.
very informed. So there's just guesses on who she is, and the only person that knows for sure is, of course, her maid, who she's roped into doing this as well, joining the guild, trying to make it on their own in help of her family. And eventually that comes out because again, her past catches up with her. Her ex-fiance, who she found was just a title hunter, which if
Yeah.
you've read any bodice rippers or Regency era type
You'll know.
romances, you know that term, because that's a term,
Yeah.
that's a trope that's used quite often in those earlier romance paperbacks. So he shows up and starts making trouble for her, and the politics really start churning then, because not only is she missing from her family, but now he knows that she's there, this
Yep.
ex-fiance, and he is going to put the pressure on her, because he is throwing money at the guild to get him artifacts. And
Yes.
he thinks that with her in there, in the spot that she's in, that he can just pressure her more for artifacts, or to give him what he wants, which is her family
Her
name.
estate.
Yeah, because she's the only child of her father.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
we should not.
Yeah,
This is
too much.
probably the extent of
Yep.
what we're going to give you.
So,
Read the book.
read
It's
the book.
good.
It's very good. It does end kind of abruptly, I will say. Like, I was aching for a little bit more to find out how they...
An epilogue of
Yeah.
sorts.
You know, something later, a couple of years down the road kind of thing, to find out how everything ended up, because it did not end how I expected it to. Like, I was not
So
expecting
how did you
that.
expect it? We're going to go into spoiler territory probably.
Yeah.
I
I figured...
you expect it to end.
I didn't expect the king to show up.
Really?
I didn't expect...
Okay.
It makes sense why, though, of course. We're talking about two houses. And children of two houses. I didn't expect for them all to get kicked out of the class.
Yeah.
That was heart-wrenching.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, especially for Lark. Like,
I know.
because and for I can't remember
What's his face?
Yes.
The Slither skin.
Yeah.
There's
my
a
heart broke for
half
him.
lizard humanoid race called Slither skins. They are kind of like turtle people.
But you know, I kind of got the mental image that he was more gecko with a shell.
Gecko with a shell.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
he was kind of like licking his eyeball
and he had
things.
slimy, sticky
hands.
You know,
Yeah.
like the couple of
Okay.
times he touched her, she just kind of got the ick,
She was
because
like,
it was slime, and it like offended him, and she was like, "I'm so sorry." It was an involuntary reaction kind of thing. Yeah, I kind of got he was like a gecko with a pretty sizable shell.
Yes.
So I didn't expect that. I did expect her to go with the scholar side. But I thought that she would have gotten the option. And the crime,
the king did
and
not let them off easy.
I kind of thought it would have washed. You know, I didn't think she would got banished. I thought they would have washed, and she would just gone to the scholars instead.
Right. No, I'm happy with the way this ended, because it gave conclusion to the actual real threat of her being caught in her plans. So, and because they built it up. They said he was always telling her how if she gets caught, like, you know, she's probably going to die. Like, at the very least get expelled and never be able to get a license. Your family will be in ruin.
I also really, really cried about with the interaction between her and her father.
Yeah,
that like,
which was sad.
That broke my heart, because it really showed how little he cared.
Yeah. And he was the one who got off the most easy, other than Barnabas, probably.
Yeah.
Both of the men who destroyed all of these people's lives, were
Yeah.
the sole responsible, um,
Scot-free.
got off easy, scot
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
just held up, don't understand what these people have done for them, and just completely ignorant to it because of how society favored them.
Right.
They're like, okay, whatever, no
Yeah.
skin off my back.
Yeah.
So
I thought that Magpie.
the new wife of
Oh, I loved
the
the new wife, but I also thought
so
she
such a
was.
queen.
I thought she was also very cold
She's
towards
cold, true, but
towards
she
no
did
towards
what
our
she
main
had
character though.
to.
Like
Yeah.
like I thought the thought process that our main character had
Mm-hmm.
about, why she couldn't marry Dickhead, why she needed to go this course of action. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was like very astute because I hadn't
Mm-hmm.
connected those. And usually I can think a couple of steps ahead about a story, and I didn't connect those dots of, oh yeah, of course he would just fucking kill her. As soon as he becomes the sole heir, like
No,
there's no reason for her.
obviously
He has absolutely no
reason to keep her
emotional
around.
tie.
Yeah.
He already stated to others, unbeknownst to him that she heard him, that, he has no attraction to her. Like, why would he?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, he would just need to keep her around for a year or two. Once
Yep.
her father passed, once he's been named the new heir, because they only leave things to females if there is no other option.
Yep.
And there wasn't for this lord, for her father. So, of course, it would make sense that he would name her husband instead. And as soon as she came to that conclusion, I was like, oh man, of course. So either
Mm-hmm.
she needed to do this because a warring faction would come through and slaughter her her family, what was left of her family, and then her closest family, which were her servants, or her newly wedded husband was going to do it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it totally made sense to me as soon as it like got laid out. I was like, fuck, man, I didn't think about that. So
Mm-hmm.
when the new wife and her father show up, and her father is absolutely just callous towards him, towards her,
Yep.
like, how could you do this, like,
Mm-hmm.
bitch, how could you not do something? Like,
Nothing.
nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Just gambled his entire fortune away, and
And then the
yeah.
new wife just kind of be like, no, you don't have to come home. Like, well,
Well, because she has her own son who's going to be
right,
heir now. So
right.
yeah.
Like, okay, so you couldn't, just welcome in the woman who is only like 10 years younger than you, couldn't allow her to be at her home and, like,
It would be improper. And that's kind of the way I see it. And that's the way she saw it as well.
well,
She's like,
she,
I don't really blame her for doing this. Had she not been already married
yeah,
and having this situation on the side after the fallout of her trial,
mm-hmm.
I think I would have felt way more a certain type of way towards this woman.
Okay,
But she also had to do what she needed to do to survive.
right.
So I
I,
kind of admired her for that.
I
So,
think, and I, because I was reading both points of view, um, I know why our main character thought the way she did about, maybe coming home and stuff like that, because she hadn't seen her husband in 18 days at that point.
mhm.
Like, she didn't know if they were going to stay married, or because she had lied to him. And that was like one of the things he's like, don't lie to me. You know, we're in this together. I need to be able to trust you with this because we're both sticking our necks out for each other. And she knew that was going to be a sticking point for him.
Mhm.
So before she even came out of that meeting with her father, she was under the impression that she was like the only option for her was to go home in disgrace because her father
Yeah.
wasn't going to allow her marriage to stand.
Hmm.
And so her coming out of that tavern and her husband being there waiting for her, I think surprised the hell out of her and kind of just showed her exactly what kind of relationship they had actually built together, because they were getting very close
Hmm.
before everything happened. Like, and the crux of the whole, the high point of the plot, I suppose, the night before the
Hmm.
moonrise, she, like, I was wondering about this is probably going to go into our, plot hole discussion. She knew that she could not, to fulfill her part of the bargain, she knew she had to be there for him.
Hmm.
However, and he had stuck around for a week because it was really riding him at that point.
Yeah.
Why was she pushing for them to go into the caves to get something so hard for that week leading up to? She knew that was going to be a difficult time. I didn't understand, like, why everything had to happen that week. Why couldn't it happen afterwards?
Because of the bull moon, I think.
Right, but that doesn't make any
Right.
sense. Like,
She
that
should.
was, I would have been like, okay, we can't do it this week. Obviously, he's sticking around. He's always
Yeah.
here. I'm not going to be able to get away. I told him I was going to be here for this. We have to plan it for the week after. Like, they had already found the dead body. The whole area was shut down. Who knew when they were going to open up? Like,
Hmm.
they could have used their whatever. Like, nobody had been down there for 2 weeks at that point.
I guess, yeah. I guess they could have told Magpie later. Was it because it was coming up on the end of the term?
I don't know. I don't
I think
remember.
I think there was some reason
I know they were
that
worried
they were
about the
running out of
guild.
time.
The guild they were worried that the guild were going to stake claim on that spot because of the dead body. But it's
Right.
not like anybody knew that there were any artifacts in there because they hid the one that they had found. So, like,
True. I just
there was no
feel
impetus.
I think because of the way that their team was getting screwed so hard and the fact that Magpie was drunk all the time,
Hmm.
they knew that their days were numbered and
Okay.
uh, they needed to do something quick in order to establish that they were an actual functioning member of the guild, members team of the guild.
And that was the other
What's it
thing,
called?
like the an actual nest. Um
Yeah,
Fledglings, they were fledglings.
fledglings.
Um that was another thing. Like, they are students of the guild.
Hmm.
Okay? Maybe this was just not explained well enough, and again, this could go into the plot hole part of our discussion, which should be coming up.
Yeah,
Hold tight, guys. We're getting there. Um, they were worried about the guild staking claim and taking over, sending in the guild stooges to search the area. They are
hmm
students of the guild. Why wouldn't anything that they find belong to the guild anyways? It's not like the once they became, that was what was really confusing to me. There's the guild masters.
hmm
There's 20 guild masters. Each of them have 5 people that they train. Then those
yes.
people test on whether or not they
hmm
become guild members themselves. And
hmm
maybe they get hired on by a lord to
Yeah.
go searching. Okay, that makes
Yes.
sense. Okay,
hmm
you have a patron who's paying for you to go in there to find stuff for them.
Yep.
But they're fledglings. They belong to the guild. Why would it matter whether or not the guild had sent stooges in there? The students are the stooges.
That is true.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
It's protecting their reputation and
Magpie didn't have a reputation at that point.
Not at that point. I am actually not sure why Magpie was still around, especially if they were extremely misogynistic and the
Right.
fact that most of them did not respect her at all anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was a drunk on the floor, super
Yeah.
bad by the time that they got the Sparrow got there.
Mm-hmm.
So why was
Yeah.
she around?
So there. Okay. So let's get into this. Okay.
Yeah.
So first, what was your overall rating for Ruby Dixon's Bull Moon Rising?
Ooh,
This is a special
I've
edition, by
had
the
to
way.
think about it. It's gorgeous, by the way. The special editions are so pretty. Uh,
You listened to it, right?
I listened to it.
Mm-hmm.
I got it done pretty much within 3 days. It was so super fun,
I
super
told you
fun.
as soon as you
But
if as soon as you got past that point, you were gonna be hooked. Cause I was
yes,
like, it took it.
yeah.
I think it took 75 pages, and then it had its hooks in me.
Uh, I am going to give this. I mean, it's not a perfect 5 for me, but it's like a good solid 4, maybe 4.5.
That's for the
Uh,
story.
for this, just the entire thing, the
Okay.
story, the spice, like my. There are some plot holes. We
Mm-hmm.
are kind of
Obviously,
already dipping into them. That bothered me, though. As far as everything else, not a lot bothered me. The writing was fantastic. The uh, the nods to real historical elements were
mm-hmm.
really fun. Like when reading this, it feels like I'm reading a fantasy kind of Regency era
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
So it's so much fun.
yeah.
I just almost wish there's more to this story.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you're right. I kind of wished for a little bit of an epilogue. We, you and I barely wish for more after a lot of these books because sometimes it's too much,
Mm-hmm.
and the author kind of wears out their welcome with a certain story.
Right.
Um, I just kind of maybe it doesn't have to be this exact couple, but I kind of want something else in this universe.
Yeah.
It's fun, and I'd
Yeah.
like to see more.
I usually look at the writing, particularly the technical aspect of it. It is in first person, both points of view. I'm not going to knock it for this time because it actually works really well. It works really well. So I am going to agree. This is a 4-star for me. There were, of course, plot points. There wasn't a lot. I mean, this is traditionally published, so there was an editor. There were proofreaders. They took their time and polished this pretty well. Okay, so if there were corrections, what would it be?
I think the climax of the story could have been maybe I wasn't listening as well during that time. Maybe I should have gone back and reread that part. Maybe I just felt like the climax of the story left something to be desired on the side of what the villains were doing, I
Yeah.
guess. So when they get they get sent down there
Mm-hmm.
into the crypts basically to die, and they get caved in,
Mm-hmm.
um, and luckily for everybody, this is the exact day of the Bull Moon Rising, so
Mm-hmm.
she will be found. But where were the villains at this time? Like, they were just sitting and drinking and celebrating.
Yeah.
What
Like
about
how he finds them. Is he gets
yeah,
back to the house, they're expecting him to be in the caves in a different section trying to save someone, and he comes in and they're just sitting around the table talking, laughing and drinking.
maybe this speaks to their extreme stupidity and arrogance, but I feel like good villains would have like tried to do something, have an
Mhm.
alibi, make sure that they have another cave in somewhere else, like
Yeah.
plausible deniability. Like,
Yeah.
why are they just sitting around waiting for something to happen, like the ball to drop? I don't know. They're dumb.
Yeah.
Maybe, but you're right. Magpie is a drunk,
Hmm.
and Barnabas is a jackass. So,
Well,
like,
and that along that vein, in
mhm,
my corrections, I like the whole time that they were out in the wilderness training when Magpie was sober.
mhm.
I kind of thought that she did that so that she one could detox herself. And then
Yeah,
when Barnabas showed up, I thought because remember Lark had told them that Magpie had gone off the deep end when some lord who she fell in love with, some
mhm.
minor like third son, which Barnabas was, had spurned her because he needed to marry some lord's daughter. I
Yeah,
thought that was going to be Barnabas. And I thought the whole reason that Magpie had taken them out in the wilderness to do this training, for as
mhm.
useless as it fucking was, like even our main character, male main character, was like this is not helping. Like,
Mhm.
why are we out here doing this? Because they were out there for a week,
Yep.
probably more than that. Now that I think about it,
A long time.
it was a
Yeah.
long time, and they only came back after Barnabas showed up. And so I
Mhm.
thought that Magpie had drugged them out there because Barnabas wanted to see her.
I thought so too. I thought that they were kind of in cahoots for a while.
And so
Yeah.
that's why I thought that it was so easy to for when everything came out, why she was doing this and stuff like that. I thought that was the reason was because that was the Lord that she had fallen in love with, and
Mhm.
she was helping him get her out of the way. Our main character, Sparrow.
I see. I see.
That
I
might have
could see
actually
that.
worked a little bit better for modus operandi.
I guess, but they both have their motives. Barnabas has a really good motive. Magpie, I guess
She was
her
just
motive is
greedy.
pretty
Like
fleshed out.
her reasoning was he had promised to she would never have to go into the caves again. She would never have to
Yeah.
teach again. She'd just retire and drink herself stupid. Like almost verbatim. Which like our male main character was her best student, her best
Hmm.
friend, and like the whole reason that he was teaching her classes was because he felt this moral obligation to do so, and it
Take care of her.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she stuck her neck out to teach him
Hmm.
and to try and make all of the minotaurs better, like have
Hmm.
better standing in the guild. And so he was honor bound to help her, and she like. But I guess I mean that's just kind of human nature too. Like fuck the people that helped me get me keep me or whatever, you know.
Hmm.
So I guess it makes sense, but like at the same time that just was kind of heart wrenching that she did
Hmm.
that. Yeah. But
It is. It is heart wrenching.
that would have been the
But drunk,
correction I made is that she
yeah,
and Barnabas had that nefarious
like a
tie.
tryst or some other
Yeah,
kind of.
because it just kind of lined up a little too perfect to not go that way. And maybe that's why it didn't go that way is because it was all kind of perfectly aligned.
And it doesn't have to be like an ending does not have to be perfect like that.
Mm-mm.
And maybe it wouldn't have been. Who knows? Like maybe there's some things that I'm forgetting and not thinking about. But it also, you know, I just felt like it was a little bit of a balloon pop situation where Sparrow was in prison for a few days and then she comes out, oh, and she's sentenced and she's guilty. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, if I were to be an outsider looking in on this world, this is probably exactly how it would have turned out.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound like it's any like movie magic behind the scenes,
Mm-mm.
like BS. We're all living happily ever after. They all got their
Asses hand
deserved.
to them.
Yep, they did. And the world is not a fair and just place. At least this one is. So, and that I did enjoy. I did like that. I did like
Yeah.
that there was a
Hint of reality.
realistic yeah, realistic. Um, uh, I hesitate to see fiefdom. I'm thinking of something else, but
It's along those
uh,
lines. It's a
yeah, that element to it.
yeah.
And
Okay.
not antiquated. I don't
It is
know.
antiquated. It's definitely old world politics.
Yeah.
Definitely a monarchy type system
Hmm.
and serfdom. No, not serfdom. They're not serfs. But
Hmm.
fiefdom is kind of is correct because like the holds are they are their own like little countries under the
Yeah.
umbrella of the monarchy. Okay, so what is a major plot hole for you?
Um. Why isn't the dad freaking out about her leaving?
Yeah. Yeah, like
What?
that's your
He didn't
only
care at all.
heir. I mean, I guess he wasn't worried too much because he had the spare, the illegitimate son for 7 years. So, but he didn't even know she was gone. Like at
He didn't know
all.
she was gone. What the hell was he doing during that whole time?
So, at the very beginning, the only reason that she was able to get away is because he was in the capital city with his mistress. Which, okay,
So he was there the whole time, the months that she was there.
the capital city and where the guild are two different things.
No, no, I know. I'm
Oh, okay.
talking about this. Like, why?
Oh,
What was
yeah.
he doing? Did he just literally not give a single shit about his daughter? That he's like, I don't know. Maybe she's dead.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Well, I mean, she
Like,
left a note that she went to her grandmother's, but like grandma didn't even say anything.
yeah,
Like this is your
he just
heir,
didn't care.
your only
This is
heir.
your heir.
But I guess with there not being any money and there not being any artifacts and basically paper walls standing.
I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't at least pretend to care to save face. Like there wouldn't have been like a wanted poster or something out, be like, "Hey, this is my daughter's missing. What the
Right.
hell?"
Right.
Like,
Because she was there for,
um,
let's see, it was only 3 weeks. And from,
was it only 3 weeks?
yeah,
Damn,
I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Let's see, the start of our story. Again, because it started with the countdown, right?
it does. So
So
23 days or 20?
27 days before. So it's not even a full
Yeah,
month,
yeah,
you know?
close, but
And it wasn't Espeth, that's her name. Um
mhm.
yeah, it's like day 24 that she gets into this arrangement with him, with Hawk.
Mhm.
That's his name, Hawk. So yeah, it's not even a full month. He has been just in the capital with his
He's there for a month
yep.
with his mistress,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess is plausible. I guess that's plausible. I don't know. That just seems crazy to me.
But it
I was like,
also like just their interaction at the very end kind of shows that he could have been there
yeah,
for 6 months. I don't think he would have
yeah,
given two shits. So
yeah.
maybe it's fully within the realm of possibilities for that particular character. My plot hole was the oh shit. I guess it was the guild hierarchy. Like it just didn't make sense. Like
Also, what was Rooster doing after he found what's his face going Hawk going into the mine, the not mines, the catacombs?
Rooster. Oh, yeah, like I don't know.
He was such a dickhead, and then he ends up being kind of redeeming himself in the end.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know. The guild hierarchy left something to be desired too. I know that they were all kind of in it for themselves, which kind of makes zero sense if you're going to be a guild.
Right.
But
Right.
uh,
Again, like
I don't
there's
know.
there the I don't know if it's part of the politics, but like just the to me the guild could have been fleshed out way more because like they're supposed to be brokers, yet there are guild members who are going into the catacombs and pulling out artifacts and not turning them over to the guild. So like
Mhm.
how do these people make money? Do they only make money when they're teaching or when they're, being sponsored by
They're
hold
definitely being
lords?
sponsored by holders, probably.
But like I thought the guild was supposed to be neutral then. Like
They're someone's lying.
right, there it a little bit like it would make more sense like if the guild went down, found the artifacts, compiled the artifacts, figured out which ones were useful or working or whatever, and then sold them at market.
Mhm.
That would make more sense than sponsoring a team to go down and find artifacts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's my gripe. Okay, number 4. Romance, smut, or erotica?
Romance.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, this it's not there are some there's not kinky bits, but there are definitely steamy bits.
There's steamy bits.
Yeah,
And it's like
that lead
definitely
up
not for
to.
kids. It's not
No.
for kids to
Mm-mm.
read. It's a romance with it's just a
It's
spicy romance.
yeah, it's a
It's not a
romantasy.
smut. It's not like she's getting it every chapter, every page.
In fact,
I've
when
read
she
those. We
finally
both read
oh,
those.
those have a time and a place. So if I would say romance. It's definitely not smut, which means it's definitely not an erotica. Okay,
Yep.
and then your last freebie question for me.
Hmm. Um, who is your favorite character?
The lizard guy. I loved
Yeah.
him. I loved him so much. Um,
He was great. He also didn't talk, by the way, which made him
he was
like the
very
whole
expressive.
very expressive, but he was so sweet,
Hmm.
and he just yeah, kind of like was a stoic, but he knew what he wanted, and he was the first ever lizardkin, or I'm sorry, slither skin
To join the guild.
artificer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's really cool.
It was very
I
cool.
like all these extra little side stories that flesh out a good story.
Hmm.
It felt
And there were
like I was
moments where it was like really
there.
good, where like you
Mhm.
were like, "Ooh, let's." I'm gonna get to that. Okay, so my freebie question:
Yes.
if you could have an artifact, what would your artifact be? Of the ones that were described,
Mm.
like which
Hmm.
ones would you be interested in?
I just want like a silly one. I would want a silly one. There was one that what chopped onions or like was a
Yeah.
sign
Oh
that
my gosh. Yes. So there was there's a tavern, the tavern,
yeah,
the King's Onion, and
the king's onion.
all the artifact did was just produce onions,
I know.
and so they
I don't
garnished them
want
on the
onions because I
beers.
don't like onions, but I would like I don't know, like what's something delicious?
Well,
Not just like chocolate, but like a
there was the bowl that
I don't
produced
know.
olives,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then there was one that produced like raspberries or cherries or something like that.
I would want one like a bowl that produced like perfect strawberries. Probably like those really sweet kind.
I really liked the one the I think it was a mirror. It might have been a painting. It was a painting. The painting,
Painting.
yeah, the painting where she heard her fiance talking shit about her.
That
Like that would have been
that's
a
a good
good one.
one.
Yeah.
I would. I don't know if I would want that. I don't know. I don't like.
I'd want it so I could watch the cats.
That's true. But there's a ring camera exists, girl.
I
That
know, I
exists in real
have
life.
one now, but that's not the point. Like now I have this little like white dome thing that goes instead I just want a really
You just
nice
want like a little picture.
yeah, like in Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers, you know, like he looked at the picture and then all of a sudden it's a
Yes.
video. That's what I want.
Oh wow! I just got a nostalgia flashback.
You know exactly what I'm talking
Aw.
about when I say that.
I know exactly. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yes. Okay, so
Won't you be my neighbor?
So I will say that I really, really, really wanted more story about the people that they were excavating.
Yes.
Like,
Maybe we should just read some books, like history books. I don't know.
but like
I don't know. It was just fun.
the whole thing behind the ring set.
Oh, and I thought there was gonna be more to that too. Like
Yes.
she and Hawk were some like an integral part since they,
Right.
copulated in that.
I thought they were
crypt
going to
for the
get to
first
keep
ever
the rings
time.
for themselves, and instead they got given to her
Yeah.
fucking father.
I know.
I also like I
The worst, by the way.
I hoped like later on, if there had been an epilogue, that Hawk's first teaching team would have been the four from their team, or that her father, having found a heart in his rattling around barreled chest, would have hired them as the team, Hawk or that's actually that's what I thought. Like her
Was
new
gonna
stepmother was going to hire Hawk as the lead of their team, and then he would have built the team with the four students that he had under Magpie. Like I thought that was going to happen in an epilogue, but it didn't. That would have been a good epilogue.
Okay, I just thought about another plot hole.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, I already brought up that why was Magpie still there?
Yeah.
Why didn't the king punish Magpie earlier if she was such an incompetent guild leader? Or not just the king.
A guild master, you mean?
Guild master, like, why? Because she was famous? Like,
Yeah, because she was very famous. Like that is something they talk about because of her discovery. I don't know. I think Rooster was not kicking her out because of Hawk. Like they had
Hawk was just
there was a couple
vouching for her.
a couple of discussions there where Hawk was like, just please let me get it together, and Rooster straight up said, I'm doing this for you, not because she deserves it, but because you're asking me to, and you are an incredible asset to the guild. So I think Rooster was keeping her around because Hawk was begging for her to stay. And I think it's because Hawk tied himself to her that he didn't look for another guild master to hitch his wagon to. I don't know.
I feel like there's some sort of, maybe he felt that because she trained him, right? He was a fledgling under her, that he felt obligated to, carry her around, her dead weight around.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
that was Ruby Dixon's Bull Moon Rising. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this discussion. Stick around. If you are a Apple Podcast subscriber, there is a post show. So, we are very excited for 2024. We do hope to have you guys join us in our next discussion. Do we have a book for
2025, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. 2025. Thank you. It's still January. I'm still getting
It's still
used to it.
January. I know.
Okay, so we do have a pick for February. I picked January.
Mhm.
Do you have a February pick?
Yes, we're going to be reading
Go ahead, tell them.
Stray.
Yep. Stray by, let me pull it up because I got to
I
pull that
forgot
up.
the name
Yep.
of the author.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's okay. So let's give a little bit about this one, actually. Your husband texted me back when I told him about the book we read. It was a face palm. Okay, so Stray is. I hate what they did with the Kindle insights. Like they've hidden them in
Oh,
reading challenges now, so you gotta like really dig to find them.
okay.
Um. Oh yeah, have you set yourself for your reading goal this year?
Uh, I am not going to do a reading goal.
Okay.
I think that's good for some people. I think for you for sure, because you read like lightning. I My reading goal is to completely read all the physical books that I already have in my possession because I
Mm-hmm.
have several that are unread because I keep getting distracted with others that are downloadable or there's just so much to read in so little time. So
That's
that's my
fair.
goal for this year. Yeah.
Okay, so Stray, I believe it's by Daisy Jane. We are going to
Yes.
be entering our femdom era, y'all. Join us on this.
Yes.
We are very excited. It is 516 pages long. It is available on Kindle Unlimited,
Mhm.
and we will have that discussion for you February 24th of 2025. All right,
All
Cass.
right.
Thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited about this book recommend. All right, are you ready? Because this is a good one so far. I am
I
like
am.
50%.
I
I'm sorry,
am.
I'm 63%, and it is on
Yeah.
Kindle Unlimited, and it is
Mhm.
called Can't Get Enough of the Pretty Little Death. Join our subscriber only episodes and get the post show available only on Apple Podcasts.